Am I in the shot?
Yep. Hey YouTubers, if you like what you see, make sure you click subscribe below. This is our Week 10 Thursday night triple threat episode. No singing, no karaoke, no hot shot, no chug 'em, but instead we got a little watch your mouth in the middle, so make sure you stay tuned for that.
And it ain't me.
In a world where losing in your fantasy football league isn't an option, we present to you Triple Coverage Podcast.
Coming to you live from TCP Studios in Las Vegas, Nevada, Jay Up and James Up are your co-hosts for everything fantasy football related. So sit back, crack a cold one, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Triple Coverage Podcast. It is Thursday, which means it is our Thursday night triple threat episode. I am your co-host, Jay Up, and you can find me on Twitter at TripleCodeJ. Back with my co-host, my brother James.
Whoa.
And you can find him on Twitter at TripleCodeJames.
That's true.
So we had a really good game this last week. You were actually there, and so I know you're going to want to talk about that for a few minutes.
I was there.
But let's just give you a real quick recap, and you can kind of let us know what happened. Maybe something fun happened in your section. You had a big group there with you.
I did.
San Francisco ends up winning this game 28-25 over the Arizona Cardinals. This is what jump-started my good week of betting off because I actually had...
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I actually had Arizona plus 10.
So
I remember talking about it with you and saying this is just way too high for a
points.
divisional game. It opened up like at 7 or 7.5, and I said that if it gets bet up at all, I love the Cardinals. I took them plus the over, and right away... Arizona came right out and scored a touchdown like really quick.
Yeah, that's why I told everyone that we were with. I had a group of 10 people because of my wedding party. We were getting married in Arizona, and it just so happens there was a Thursday night game, and there was no way I was not going to enjoy a game in the middle of all this chaos that was surrounding everything. So I convinced my fiance at the time that we should go get everyone together.
Mm-hmm.
And Arizona Cardinals had a group rate that they gave us, and the guy was awesome, amazing. Gave us tickets for very cheap. Gave us a shout out on the Jumbotron. Which I did not see. I was browned out-ish at the time.
You didn't get a...
I think it was in the first quarter, and it was the one time that I only caught the tail end of the shout-outs. Every other quarter, I made sure I was there to watch, and it never flashed again.
So no picture either.
No picture. I tried. But yeah, at the time, we were having too much fun. We tailgated a little bit beforehand. I bought 20 Fireball, little single shots of Fireball. Yeah. Those were gone before we hit the gates. We snuck a couple in. It was great. It was great. It was we ate beforehand, so we didn't have to spend that much money there at the game. We just drank a little bit, had a couple of beers, and by the time we got in, we were already kind of buzzed, and we got to enjoy a game, and it was high scoring, and it was all that we hoped it was. At one point, David Ward looked over at me, Dynasty Dave. He looked over at me, and he was definitely hammered for sure. And he looked over and he was like, "Is this still the second quarter?" And I look up, and there was 10 minutes and 20 seconds to go still in the second quarter. And I'm like, "Yeah, this is second quarter." And he's like, "I'm not going to make it." And I'm like, "Through what?" And he was like, "I'm just not going to make it." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Well, I have the car." So I'm like, "Let me know." Like, I don't know if he was saying he was too drunk or what.
He's going to take a nap.
It was the second quarter. And he was like, "Tell me this is the second quarter still." And so that first quarter did kind of slow up a little bit. But by halftime, we hit a second wind and we were fine. We were off and running.
Yeah, there's actually 2 touchdowns scored in the first quarter, so maybe that's what kind of prolonged it.
It was 2 kind of long drives, yeah. And then before you know it, halftime comes around. This is what the funny thing was. Right before half, I'm in line. I'm trying to get my beer before halftime breaks, and there was like 20-something seconds left. And I'm watching on the television. It's 4th down. I see San Francisco go for it, and they don't get it. And I was like, wow, that was weird. I'm like, why didn't they just kick a field goal? It would have been 17-7 at the time. And so I go up to the window. I get my beers. I come back to sit down in my seat. I glance up at the Jumbotron. I'm like, how is it 21-7? And no one around me knew how they got the touchdown. And I'm like, wait. I just saw them go for it on 4th down. And a guy next to us was like, yeah, they went for it on 4th down, didn't get it. They threw a penalty and then went for it again. And I'm like, wait. I'm like, when did that happen? He was like, there was 2 seconds left. And I'm like, they went for it and didn't get it. And he's like, yeah, there was a penalty. And I'm like, how the hell did I miss that? So I'm coming back to my seat feeling great that it's 14-7. And I'm like, oh, I got Arizona plus 10. Come to find out it's 21-7 at halftime. I didn't like my chances at that point. But they still covered. They covered easily, actually.
Yeah, it was. I was annoyed.
I wouldn't say easily. They needed that last touchdown. That long touchdown to Andy Isabella was gigantic.
That was a backbreaker for us.
Gigantic for us.
Especially.
And the 2-point conversion.
Yes.
The 2-point conversion, I was like, all right, now no matter what happens the rest of this fourth quarter, worst case scenario, I push at 10. So
I
was
had it at
loving
10
it.
as well.
Yeah.
The annoying part for me in this game was the fact that in our big boy league, the $500 league, I happened to be going up against a guy who had Matt Ryan on bye. So he picked up Jimmy Garoppolo and played him. And then he also had George Kittle.
He's a Niner fan.
Yeah, and then he also picked up Kenyon Drake.
Wow.
And had to play him because his other two running backs were on bye. So he had Kenyon Drake and somebody else who wasn't that good.
Kenyon Drake was on the waiver wire even when he was with Miami?
No, he could have been on his bench, but he had to play him. It wasn't like a situation where he wanted to play him. Like he had to because he had no other options.
Wow.
And so I'm sitting there watching the game and I'm like, okay, so San Francisco, all they've been doing this entire season is run the ball, run. They're averaging 200 yards of rushing. And so what happens? Jimmy Garoppolo throws for 317 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he's put up 40 points. And now Kenyon Drake is running all over the San Francisco defense, which I was like, how in the hell is San Francisco can't stop their run with Kenyon Drake?
Because it was new. It was new. He'd only been there for 48 hours. That's what we kept saying. I was like, this guy's only been with the team for literally 44 hours at this time, and he is running wild on them.
Yeah, needless to say, by the end of the game, I was down 90-0 in the fantasy league.
Did you win?
No, I lost.
Oh.
I lost by 30.
Kenyon Drake, 4 targets, caught all 4 balls as well. What does this mean? This is what I wrote down. It was a Kenyon Drake show for Arizona. What is going to happen when all 3 running backs in this backfield are finally healthy? It looks like David Johnson's practicing, so I don't know if they're going to give him a go or if they're okay with playing Drake one more week. But he is back, it seems like. So what do they do when Chase Edmonds, let's say Chase Edmonds misses another week or 2 or whatever. When all 3 of them are healthy, how does this even shake down? Is this the end of David Johnson being an RB1 as we know it because Drake ran so well against a really tough defense? Or do you think it's still David Johnson's job? And if it is, how do they split up the other 2 guys? So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen here.
With this air raid offense, you don't really sustain multiple running backs. So to me, this kind of kills all their value. Your window to sell Kenyon Drake is evaporating very quickly. Like, if you didn't sell him this weekend, you have until Sunday's games kick off to sell him. Otherwise, it's not going to be the Kenyon Drake show just because he blew up against San Fran. Like, that was a really tough defense. He played great. So he's never going to be higher than he is right now. Plus, he's a free agent at the end of the year. Right. So they already have David Johnson under contract, and they have Chase Edmonds under their rookie deal. So your window to sell Kenyon Drake is evaporating very, very quickly if you want to get rid of this guy. But my point is that I don't think they can sustain David Johnson, Chase Edmonds, and Kenyon Drake on a week-to-week basis when Kingsbury wants to throw the ball over the place.
What's crazy is that David Johnson wasn't running tremendously before he got hurt. Like, he was doing well. Like, he's always seems to be in the top 10 or top 12, but he's not blowing anyone away. Then Chase Edmonds takes over, and all of a sudden he's a top 3 running back. Then he gets hurt. Then Drake comes in, and this week he was a top 5 running back. So it seems like no matter who they do put in that system, that first guy, the RB1 only, is the one that's succeeding and no one else in that backfield. So, again, if David Johnson comes back and they say, hey, look, this first week we're going to try a little split, I agree with you. It's done at that point. If they try a split and it's Drake and David Johnson and they both do well, it could mean the end of David Johnson being an RB1 as we know it. He could fall to like running back 15-16 range and the value is just not there anymore. So I'm a little curious to see how that's going to shake down this next week. Who do they play anyway?
I'm curious to see who it shakes down. They play Tampa Bay, who's got a bad defense.
There we go. So it is possible for at least this 1 week that both of them succeed.
Tampa Bay has going into last week had the number 1 rushing defense.
I know, but
the only guy all year long that has run for over 100 yards against them was just this last week with Chris Carson, who ran for 105. So they actually shut down the run pretty well.
Right.
So I don't see any of the running backs for Arizona maybe combined over 100, but none of them individually are going to get over 100 yards rushing.
They're only giving up, I think it was 81 yards on the ground, but I think that all 3 of those guys, Drake, Edmonds, and David Johnson, can definitely catch, and so that's why I think they're going to get their points anyways.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm just still not impressed with, again, Kyler Murray. Like, I mean, his QBR was 34.9. Like, he just doesn't look that impressive. Like, when you look at the stat sheet, it's like, oh, okay, 241 and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Okay, he had a good game. But none of his passes, like, he can't complete the deep passes. Christian Kirk had 5 targets, and he caught 2 of them. And you look at all the completions that he got. Andy Isabella's 88-yard touchdown, That was
That
a
was
slant
not-
route.
yeah, right.
It was about 6 yards deep.
He outran everybody on that.
Drake's passes were dump offs. They weren't routes. They were dump offs. And Fitzgerald was he had a long of 20, but that wasn't a 20-yard pass. So it's like all of his passes that he's completing are like little baby passes that the guys are just running yards after the catch.
But if you weren't at the game. If you're at the game, every single play Murray is being rushed. Like the defensive seven, the defensive line for San Francisco is one of the best in football, if not the best in football. So they're putting so much pressure on him. He finally had to start rolling out, and he finally had to start like almost running the ball. Like almost like every play it seemed like he was either throwing off his back foot or having to roll out to the right, rolling out to the left, play action fake. But it's even more against San Francisco. So the fact that he went 17 for 24 with no interceptions and had them in the game majority of the time, I mean, look, he had 5 rushes the first time probably all season. He had 5 carries for 34 yards because they finally let him get out there. They're so worried about preserving him and not getting him hit, not getting him, into these tackling situations where he's getting hit by these big linebackers. And in this case, they didn't have that choice. He was rolling out, and every chance he got, he was scrambling. It wasn't like he had all day. And what I'm trying to say is there's not enough time to let the play develop. To get Andy Isabella 30, 40, 45 yards downfield, it takes a couple of seconds for him to get there and to get the ball, delivered without throwing off his back foot. He just didn't have that much time. The offensive line's not there. Let's just be honest. So the rest of the season, I don't expect it. It's not going to change. The offensive line's not going to get better. The trade deadline's over. So for next season, I think that Arizona needs to, they have all their position players filled. They have a good backfield. They have a good quarterback. They have a good,
not defense.
Wide receivers. They have weapons everywhere on offense.
Right.
But they don't have an offensive line to protect them.
Right.
So they need to go out and get offensive linemen, and I think Arizona's going to be really good the next couple of seasons.
All right.
And just for the record, Kyler Murray right now, where do you think he is quarterback number-wise?
11
11.
or 12?
11.
Okay.
Still a top 12 guy.
Yeah, but I think he may finish outside the top 12.
I will say inside. If you want to put that on the wall, maybe.
Let's put it on the wall. We haven't had a wall bet in a couple weeks.
On the other side, Emmanuel Sanders, he's everything now, apparently, for San Francisco. 9 targets, caught 7 balls, 112 yards and a touchdown. Every single time I looked at the Jumbotron for replay, Emmanuel Sanders is getting a 15-yard catch. Every damn time.
You know what I thought?
Like, that's what
weird?
Dante Pettis should have been.
I thought that was weird that he hasn't even been there that long. And
right.
Like, there was a couple of times, there was a couple of pattern throws where Garoppolo had thrown the ball before Sanders turned around.
Yeah.
And Sanders was in the right spot, and it was just like right in his hand. So I thought that to show that kind of rapport and that kind of trust this early on, I only see good things happening going forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he says Sanders focused on improving chemistry with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah,
I think it's already there.
Yeah, I thought it looked great.
Yeah, well, sucks for Dante Pettis owners, I'll tell you that much.
It certainly does, but it's good for me. I own Sanders in 2 leagues. So
I did win the Wheel of Punishment. I had Kyler Murray, George Kittle, and Kenyon Drake combined for about 78 points. Jay had Jimmy Garoppolo, who almost had 40 by himself, but he went wrong with the Tevin Coleman and Christian Kirk. Coleman 5.6 points, Christian Kirk 3.6 was not enough to get it done. The difference was Kenyon Drake, who wasn't even on the team when we recorded the episode, but because everyone else was hurt, I took the
running back for Arizona,
whoever was there, and
whoever
having
started,
Kenyon Drake. So go ahead and put that mouthpiece in. Jay, if you can't understand him the next couple of minutes, it is because he has a mouthpiece in his mouth from the game Watch Your Mouth. So it's going to be very hard for him to talk. And if you want to see what he looks like, go to YouTube, Triple Coverage Podcast, and you can check him out. Looking good, bud.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to next week, Jay. It is if you want to put it on here, it is the Los Angeles Chargers at the Oakland Raiders. For right off the jump, I see 2 good offenses that can put up a lot of points and not much defense as my first thought. So the over-under is probably going to be pretty high. It is the Chargers -1, I have it, and the over-under is 48.
Yep.
Okay, so right off the jump, Jay, you tell me, what's going to happen in this game? Over under 48. Do you like the under or the over? Because it's to me, I'll give you the stats that I wrote down. It looks like this game's going to fly over.
I think so too.
That what? It's going to fly over?
Over. Yeah.
Over. Why?
2 good offenses, and the defenses are just like, eh.
Okay. The Chargers are actually 5th against the pass, which is surprising to me. Only giving up 209 yards per game.
Yeah.
You can't pass on them. So right off the get-go, I'm not really sure if I like the whole Derek Carr and the Tyrell Williams and the Darren Wallers. Like 209 yards a game is not much.
No.
So how are they gonna score? Josh Jacobs?
Jacobs.
So what if they stack the box on Jacobs and make Carr pass because they're so good in the secondary?
They're going to have to throw to Jacobs this game. They're going to have to.
What, dump offs?
Yeah, anything.
Okay.
They're going to have to get him involved in the passing game.
In the Hassing game.
Yeah.
Okay. The Hassing game, you heard it here first. Chargers.
Hass first.
Yeah, Hass first, guys. Chargers are 20th against the run.
Yeah.
They're giving up 114 yards on the ground. So you can run, like you said. So let's say Jacobs gets his 80 or 90 yards on the ground, and maybe the rest is through the air. So I actually wrote down a couple names that I love for this game. One is Josh Jacobs. The other ones are Phillip Rivers, I love. I love Austin Eckler, because guess what you can do against Oakland, Jay?
Run.
You can, well, no, not true. You can pass against Oakland. Oakland's giving up the most passing yards of anyone in the entire NFL at 298 yards a game. Oh, just under 300 yards a game. 32nd, Jay. They're worse than Cincinnati. They're worse than the Jets.
Wow.
They're worse than Miami. They're worse than Tampa. They're worse, the 32nd ranked, okay? You can't run against Oakland. They're 7th best against the run, which was very surprising to me, only giving up 92 yards a game.
Because everyone's throwing.
Because everyone's throwing. So you can't really play...
Like Tannehill.
Like who?
Tannehill.
Like Tannehill?
No.
Who?
Tannehill Day.
Tampa. Okay, Tampa. I thought Ryan Tannehill was playing defense.
No.
Tampa. This is why I don't like Carr, I don't like Tyrell Williams in this game, and I don't like Melvin Gordon, because I don't think that they're going to be able to run the ball for 150 yards against this team. I think they're going to be pass. So I like the Rivers, I like the Allens, I like the Ecklers, I like the Mike Williams. So as I say all these names, it makes me think that the Chargers are going to easily win this game.
I think shootout. Every time you count the Raiders out this year, every time.
That's true.
They played a good game. Against Indy, last week, they just did the same thing against Detroit. Like, every time you think that they're going to, like, just
fall flat.
They show up.
But in this case, Chargers are only favored by 1.
Because they're in Oakland.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they're only favored by 1. Like, I mean, when you think that they're down by, they're favored by 7, like against Indy, they were 7-point underdogs. Against the Lions, I think they were 4 or 5-point underdogs. Like, this is a 1-point game. I think by the time this game goes off, all the Raider fans are going to take Oakland for sure. It's going to end up being a pick-em by Thursday is my feel of this game. But I just like the Chargers on the road. I don't think that the Oakland Raiders are going to be able to stop them, because Chargers do have a run game. They can also pass downfield. They also have plenty of weapons. I'm shocked that they're 4-5. Like, somehow the Chargers are always stay in it. They're 2-2 on the road. The Raiders are 3-1 at home. So something's got to give here. But I think it's literally a coin flip of who's going to win this game. But the one thing that stays steady for me is I like the over.
If the line changes,
right,
I'll take the opposite
of wherever the line goes.
Yes,
okay.
That's what I do in a game like this. Is I'll take the opposite of the
public.
Yes,
opposite of the public for Jay. Hunter Renfrow. What do you think about this? Hunter Renfrow had 18% of the team's target share last week. So they're throwing to him like he is just the greatest thing.
He's a guy that should have been picked up off the waivers.
He should have been picked up off waivers
on Tuesday.
On last Tuesday.
Yeah.
If not, then he should be owned for this game for sure. But again, are you playing him knowing that the Chargers are 5th against the pass, only giving up 209 yards a game? Is this a spot that you want to pick up Hunter Renfrow and play him, or are you picking him up and waiting for a better matchup?
In a flex spot, yeah.
Really?
There's 6 teams on bye week.
There is 6 teams on a bye, and those 6 teams have a lot of cachet.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Denver, New England, Philly, Washington, Jacksonville, Houston.
So there is a lot of names there. That 6 teams on a bye. That's crazy.
Yes.
So you might have to play, I guess, Hunter Renfrow, but I just don't love it in this spot against the Chargers. Even though the over/under is so high, I could literally see, if I had to pick a score for this game, Jay, I could see like a 31-20 game. Chargers win. So Chargers outscore the Oakland, even if the Oakland gets 24. So 31-24, at least one of those touchdowns is going to Jacobs. At least, if not 2. So I just don't know, unless Hunter Renfrow catches a touchdown, I don't think he's going to get it done by yards and receptions. I don't think he's going to have 8 catches for 128 yards. It's going to be like 4 catches on 4 targets for like 30 yards, which is, 7 or 8 points in your flex? That's not great. You can take it out now.
Let's not forget this is a division game.
Yeah.
And they always play tough when it's a division game. Just like we said last week when they put San Fran favored by 10 over Arizona, because San Fran is that much better than Arizona, and then look what happened. They won by 3. Like, the division teams play each other well. They play each other twice
But that's
a
why
year,
this line's
every
only
year.
1.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I could see a situation to where the first half goes under, and then I like over for the game.
I
So
love over.
if I'm going to split it up like that, I would probably bet under, because these two teams you're going to see a lot of punting, I think, in the first half.
It's crazy
The
to
first
say
half.
that I like Eckler more than Gordon, and that will show when I tell you whose team. Do you want to move on to the Wheel of Punishment?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, so we actually drafted our teams before. Jay did get to go first because he lost, and he took Josh Jacobs first.
Right.
I came back with Darren Waller and Phillip Rivers, and then Jay came back with Derek Carr and Keenan Allen. So for Jay, Derek Carr, Keenan Allen, Josh Jacobs. My last pick was Austin Eckler over Melvin Gordon, because I think that the only way Melvin Gordon has a solid, good stat line is if he finds his way in the end zone. I think that because the Chargers are so good at throwing the ball and the Raiders' defense is so bad against the pass, I think that actually favors Eckler. So if it is a close game, I still like Austin Eckler in the second half, but I do think the Chargers win this game. So it's weird for me to say take Eckler, because obviously, if they're winning, they're probably going to be running the ball more. I just don't think that Gordon's going to rush for 100 yards unless he gets at least 20 touches, and I don't see that happening in this game.
No, ever since Gordon's come back, it's kind of messed up the flow. Like,
Correct.
I feel like they can't get in sync.
As far as the running backs go, they've been winning. But they've been winning.
Yeah, I'm saying as far as the running backs go, they can't get in sync. It's like you don't know who to start, who to play.
So now both of them are bye.
I just don't know. I just don't know what to do with those two guys, and it sucks as I own a lot of shares of Gordon and Eckler in different leagues, across 10 leagues. So it sucks not knowing who to play, but you just got to roll the dice sometimes. And against this Raiders team, I would be willing to play both these guys in my flex spot.
But if you could only pick one, Eckler or Melvin Gordon,
I like Eckler more.
So do I. I just think he's more consistent, which is weird to say.
Yeah.
So for this week, we're going to spin the wheel. Jay, you lost. You want to spin it? Or you want me to?
I will. All right, let's see what we got here. We got shot of hot sauce.
Dude, I've lost every single stomach
I know.
thing.
So be prepared.
Do you want to do it again? Since we already did that one? Actually, we did pretty much.
No, we've done pretty much all of them.
Yeah, we need to get a couple new ones. I got to take hot chocolate off. That's for damn sure. Okay, so shot of hot sauce. I'll write that down.
Shot of hot sauce.
I just remember the last time I did this. It was Tabasco and like some kind of chili garlic that was like on the bottom. And when I slurped it down, it was like super chunky. And as soon as I swallowed it, it was an immediate stomach ache. So I can't. I'm just praying that at some point you lose a stomach one so that I can get you back at least once, because that hot chocolate one was no joke.
Yeah, I'm going to try to remember to buy a hot sauce if I do, in fact, win this time, instead of just using whatever you have in your fridge.
Yeah, I was
Last
kind of
time
pissed
I
I
forgot.
had that. I wish I didn't have any hot sauce, and I would have just had to act like it was ketchup. You know, it was ketchup, but it was hot sauce. Something
No,
like
you
that.
had hot sauce. Yeah, I'll find
You're
something.
saying I got off easy last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, that makes me want to... Yeah. Okay, we'll see. All right, anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good.
All right, good luck.
Let's crack it.
Crack it. So...